Hello my beautiful crafty friends and welcome to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I am Katia with Lunar Sun Creations and I do all kinds of crafty things on this channel, from polymer clay jewelry to mixed media cards to acrylic pour painting and interactive albums and journals. So that is what I have for you today. I have once again teamed up with the wonderful Vectoria Designs and I have got an album tutorial featuring the Pirate Crafting Kit. So I hope that you will follow along and make one for yourself. The cover is made of a faux leather and I will link the tutorial on how to do that down below. That is on my channel. And without further ado, let's just get into it. I'll show you the album and then the papers and then the tutorial. I hope you're having a beautiful day and I will see you again very soon. Bye! Okay, I'm just going to go through the album with you. So this is the cover. It's got a metal latch closing it and then just a couple of the ephemera bits on the front, and then I used some faux leather on the cover to make it kind of look vintage and old. I do have a tutorial on how to do this leather technique. It's a paper bag actually. I will link that down below if you're watching this on my channel, Lunar Sun Creations, and you can do this for yourself. So when you open it up, got a little tuck spot over here and then one of the file folders and just a piece of the patterned paper there. Over here, this opens up, so there's a little place for journaling, and then opens to the side, and then this opens to the side, and those two pieces swing out, and it says sail into the pages of history where every wave tells a tale. And then they slide back in and that closes. This is open for a large insert into the side of the page. I haven't got anything in there, but it is open for that. And then on pages 2 and 3 match. So here this lifts up and then these go out to the sides, and then you've got a nice big pocket here. You can just put a regular tag in here, but in the pocket I have this little booklet that opens up like this, and then you've got two bits that open like that, so lots of room for photos and journaling, and then it all tucks back in like that and goes back into the pocket. And then over here I've got another little tuck spot with some of the ephemera in there, and then this opens up, and then this opens to the side. So these two pieces here are pockets and these are just glued down. So you have the choice of making all 4 of these spots freestanding pockets, or you could do them all with just a single tag, totally your choice. In the pocket I just have a little pull out that is just got white for journaling. You can put pictures or journal with a white gel pen on the insides of these, but if you want to keep the bulk down, then you can just do the 2 pockets and then it's not quite as thick. And then on the last page I've got a magnetized swing tab here, and this opens to the left and then up and then out. And I've got a little pocket here with some ephemera in it, and then this goes down and out again. Okay, and then that all closes up like that, and then I've just got one of the pockets here with some like a journaling card and the other one of these file folders in here. Okay, let's make it. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go over the papers that we're going to be using. I didn't print out everything because there are, I think, like 99 pieces altogether. So I just printed out what I needed, which was about half of it. So there are many different cut aparts. We've got some file folder kind of things here, more file folders, some little envelopes that just need to be scored and folded. Just so many options. A pocket here, so many things that you can cut apart and use in many, many different ways. Okay, we've got some border strips, and then we've got some full-size patterns. So we've got them going both horizontally, and then there's also some that go vertically as well. Okay, here's some of the vertical ones. So the same patterns, but just in the different aspect ratio, going horizontally, or sorry, going vertically instead of horizontally. And then we've got some just kind of vintage looking like solid papers, just so there's places to rest your eyes, some in the kind of creams and some in the blues. Okay, and then we've got the junk journal pages. Now I just printed mine out in 2 sizes. There are 3 sizes. The 3rd size goes pretty much all the way to the edge, so it's just slightly bigger. But I didn't need those ones for this project. So I just went with this size, so the 2nd size down, and then some of the smaller ones. So a lot of it's the same kind of imagery on the journaling pages, but I really love some of the images. Some of the ships and stuff, just gorgeous. Okay, so there's quite a few of those. Okay, so I printed most of those, and then I'll show you the smaller size. So again, the same kind of imagery, but just in the smaller size. So you can turn these into like little booklets or something, or just use them in pockets. Okay, so there is our papers that we're going to be using today. So I'm going to go over the rest of the materials that we'll need, and then we'll get going. Okay, supplies that we will need. We will need some wet adhesive as well as some score tape, scissors, some thin disc magnets, a ruler, of course your paper trimmer, your scoring board along with your scoring tool and bone folder, some Tyvek for the binding. A lot of people ask me about this, and it is very readily available online or in like stationery stores, office supply stores. You will need black cardstock. I'll be using an 80-pound weight cardstock. And then you will need some medium weight chipboard for the cover. Also, a lot of people ask me what I print my pattern paper on, all my digital downloads, and I printed out at my local copy shop on an 80-pound cardstock with a silk finish. And so that's what gives it that little bit of a sheen. Okay. I will also be using my ATG gun to put on the patterned paper. If you don't have one of these, that's totally okay. You can just use the either glue or the score tape. Optionally, you can use some distress ink and an ink dauber to ink the edges of your pattern paper. That isn't necessary, that's just a design choice. And for the cover, I'm going to be using some of the faux leather that I've created out of a paper bag. I'll be linking that video down below so you can go check out on my channel how I do that. So if you would like to make yourself some faux leather to do the cover, you will need just a basic paper bag, some Mod Podge, a little bit of Distress Re-Inker in your color of your choice. This one is Vintage Photo. The one that I'm going to be using for this project, I used a little bit of Vintage Photo and a little bit of black soot together. And then you'll need a little bit of glycerin mixed with water. Okay, if you don't have those and don't want to do that, that's totally fine. You can just use the regular pattern paper to cover your cover. Okay, so I'm going to get all of this put away, and then we'll start creating our project. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so for your base pages, cut 2 pieces that are 7 inches by 9 inches, and that is 17.7 centimeters by 22.8 centimeters, so 2 of those. And then cut 2 that are 8 inches by 9 inches. So that is 20.3 centimeters by 22.8. Okay, and for the first ones, you don't have to score at all. For the slightly larger, the 8x9, we're going to put them in on the 8-inch side, so that's the 20.3 centimeter side. We're going to score at half, which is 1.2 centimeters, and we're going to score at 7.5, which is 19.5. So that you've got a 1/2 inch or 1.2 centimeters on either side. Okay, do that to both of your larger base pieces. Okay, put your scoreboard away for a sec. We're going to put score tape on the valley side, so where the indented part of that score line. We're going to put our score tape on that 1/2 inch on each side. Okay, and make sure that the score tape does not touch the score line itself. Leave a tiny little gap. Okay, and now we are going to just do a little trim of the corner. So we're going to just miter the corner. So we're just cutting at an angle from the edge of the paper to the score line, or from the score line to the edge of the paper at an angle, whichever way you want to think about it. Just take off that corner a little bit. Okay, now we'll get the biddies out of the way. We are going to fold and crease each of these score lines. Okay, and now we are going to adhere these together. So you've got the smaller one is just going to fit onto the bigger one, just like that. So remove your score tape backing. I'm going to add just a little bit of wet adhesive as well. And make sure to smooth that out with your fingers so it doesn't get all goopy everywhere. Okay, and I'm going to adhere this onto that 1/2 inch section. Get it as straight as you can. Okay, so there's 1/2 adhered. Now we're going to remove the score tape backing from this other side. Okay, and then just fold it over to make sure, oh, it's not quite straight. Fold it over and make sure that it is straight. Okay, just like that. All right, so you should have a little tube kind of thing. So one end is going to go onto your binding system, and the other end will be open, so you can put a large insert in there if you so desire. Okay, so let's do the exact same thing to the second one. We're just going to have the 2 base pages, so 2 signatures, which will be 4 pages altogether. And there's quite a bit of interaction in this one, so that's why I felt that 4 pages was going to be enough. Okay, so get it as straight as possible and glue that down. All right, fabulous. And then just fold this closed. Make sure it is also straight. Okay, fantastic. So there are your 2 base pages. Now we'll get our pieces ready for the page 1 elements. Okay, so for page 1, your piece A is 4 1/4 by 7 inches, which is 10.8 by 17.7 centimeters. That's A. B is 6 and 5/8 by 7 inches, which is 16.8 by 17.7 centimeters. C piece is 3 by 3 inches, which is 7.6 by 7.6 centimeters. You'll need 2 D pieces. They measure 4 inches by 5 inches, which is 10 by 12 centimeters. And your E piece is 8.5 by 5.25, which is 21.6 by 13.3 centimeters. Okay, I'm going to try and say them slow each time, but if you need to, you can always just rewind that little part and get those measurements again. Okay, so grab your scoreboard again. And starting with the A piece, we're going to score the A on the short end, so the 4.25 inch side. Okay, we're going to score it at half, which is 1.2 centimeters, and that's all we're going to do for A. For B, we're going to score on the 6 5/8 side. So that is a 16.8 centimeter side, and we're going to score it at half and 5/8 of an inch, which is 1.2 and 1.6 centimeters. That's your B. Your C, for the moment, while we have the scoreboard out, we are going to just score at half on all 4 sides. So 1.2 centimeters on all 4 sides. We're going to work again with the C just a little bit later, but for now, that's all we're going to do. Okay, your D pieces, they do not need to be scored at all. Okay, and then the E we're going to score at 4.25 on the long side, which is 10.8 centimeters. So we're just scoring it in half. Okay, so we can put our scoreboard away for a moment. Let's go back to the A. We'll kind of flip all of these over and we'll prep them all. So we're going to put score tape on the 1/2 inch sections. So there's the A. I'm going to put it on the B as well. Okay, we're going to miter the corners of the A and the B. Now with the B, make sure not to cut into that little gusset between the 1/2 inch and the 5/8 of an inch. So just make sure that you don't cut into the gusset. Hope you can see that. Okay, I'm just going to cut the corners of the A here. Okay, so we've got the A, we've got the B. Now the C. So we've got all 4 corners scored, or all 4 sides scored. Now we're going to fold it in half on a diagonal. Try to get this as precise as possible. Okay, so now you've got a line running diagonally across. Now we're going to grab our paper trimmer, or if you prefer, you could just do it with scissors, and then we're going to cut diagonally the opposite direction right down the center. Okay, so we're going to create 2 halves that look like that. Okay, so they've got a line, line, line. All right, now I'm just going to put them together and do a little snip snip. So we're going to cut where this score line is. We're going to cut that whole corner off straight down. Okay. Hope you can see what happens there. Okay, so just like that. And then I'm also going to cut this whole triangle off. Okay, so that was the whole tip of it. So now you're left with two pieces that look like that. Okay, so those are your C's. Your D's and your E, you don't have to do anything to. The E we just have to fold in half, so you can do that. But other than that, there's nothing that has to be done with them at the moment. Okay, so now we'll bring in the first base page and we'll start putting things together. Oh, if you haven't already, we need to crease the folds of A and B. I'm not sure if I actually said that or not. Okay, so crease the folds, crease those score lines of A and B. So your A piece is going to adhere onto the right edge of the base, just like that. Okay, so the A is just going down onto the right edge. I think I was pointing to the left and I said right, but this is what I meant. I meant the right. The B is going to go onto the left. Okay, right at the edge. Okay, clean up any glue that you have there. Now, before we can put our C's on, we're going to want to add pattern paper to the inside of B and to the base. So I'm just going to figure out which pattern paper I'm going to use for that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got my pattern paper on the inside of the B and just partially on the base page. This part we can add paper to later. I just used one full sheet across here and just cut it into the two sections. Okay, so now this part can get just a little bit tricksy, but stay with me. I know you can do this. This is half of the C piece. We're going to fold back the two little flaps. Okay, it is going to sit right here at the bottom of the page with the center score line lined up with the center score line right here. Okay, but before we adhere it, we're going to have to take a tiny little notch out of one of our D pieces so that it can move properly. So what I want you to do, I want you to hold, like place this behind this D piece so that it is touching the top and touching the left side, okay? And so when it's folded, when this C flap, the little half-inch flap is folded back, you've got this triangle here. I want you to cut that off. Okay? So this is one of your D pieces, and here is that C right there. So it was just lined up right there, and I just cut off that corner. So these are going to both be down here. The upper C, it is going to be placed at the top, again with the center score line lined up with the center of the, in between the B and the base page, okay, the center line here, and the point, like the score line is pointing down, okay? But this D piece is going to be going sideways, okay? So this time we are going to maneuver the C so that it is behind this D with the one corner touching the edge and the other point touching this edge. So when we flip it over, here's the C right here. Okay, so we're just going to cut off this corner. Okay, so let me take these D's away for a second. So the two C's are going to be adhered just like that. Okay, and then the two D pieces are going to be adhered like this. So I hope that makes sense. I'm gonna adhere these now, so we're just gonna use some wet adhesive for this. Okay, I'm just gonna hold it for a sec. I'm gonna make sure there's no extra glue anywhere. Okay, and I'm going to do the same for the upper one. Okay, I'm going to give these a chance to dry before I try to close the page. I want to make sure that they are very well adhered first. Now, if you think it would be easier to add your pattern paper to these bits before gluing them down, then you can definitely do that. Actually, let's do that, and then I think that might be easier. I'm just going to add white paper. Okay, so cut two pieces that are 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. So you have a little border, and then we're just going to mimic this cut right there. Oh, that wasn't very straight. That's a little better. Okay, so I'm going to adhere that down. As your B closes, these C pieces are going to fold in. Okay, so let's give them a little crease. Okay, and now we're going to add some wet adhesive in this corner here. And this corner here. Okay, so this one is going to be lined up on top of it like this. Just let that dry for a second before we start playing with it. And then this one is going to line up right here. Okay, so this is what they're going to look like when they're open, and in a second we'll close it and you'll see how they move when we close it. Okay, let's give it a close and see how we go. There we go. Okay, yay, we did it. Okay, the very last piece, the E piece, is going to sit right here and be the kind of the closure for this page. So once again, we need to figure out what pattern paper we are going to put right here. Okay, and then I'm going to adhere this about halfway. It's your choice how far you want it. I'm going to put it somewhere around there. Okay, so I'm just going to put some score tape or wet adhesive. I'll just use wet adhesive on the back side of this. Make sure it's centered up and down. Okay, and then we're going to put a magnet right here. Two magnets actually. So we're going to put tiny piece of score tape. Okay, tiny piece of score tape, two disc magnets magnetized together. Another tiny piece of score tape. Remove the backing, close it up, make sure we're still straight and even and all that jazz. And now we'll just cover those magnets with some score tape. Okay, and there is page 1. So now we can get this, move this out of the way, and we'll get our pieces ready for page 2. Okay, so for page 2, your A piece is 11 inches by 11 inches, which is 28 by 28 centimeters. You'll need 2 B pieces and they are 5¼ inches by 10½ inches, which is 13.3 by 26.6 centimeters. Your C piece is 5�5" by 10¼ which is 14.2 by 26 centimeters. Your D piece is 9 inches by 3¾ inches. So that's 22.8 by 9.5 centimeters. And you'll need 2 E pieces. And they measure 3¾ by 5½ inches, which is 9.5 by 14 centimeters. Okay, so get all of those cut and grab your scoreboard. Actually, we can probably do this even without the scoreboard, the first part. So the A piece, we're literally just going to fold it in half. Get your bone folder and give it a good crease. Okay, open it up, fold it in half the other way. Get this as precise as you can. You can score it, like use your scoreboard if you so desire, and just score it down the center. Okay, so now we've got score lines going both ways. Now we're going to fold it on a diagonal. Okay, so you've got something that looks like that. Okay, and then your 2 B pieces, we are going to also fold in half long ways. So again, you can use your scoring board if you so desire, but I find it just as easy to just fold it in half. Okay, so you've got 2 pieces folded in half, and now we are going to add adhesive. So you want, just so you know, you want your diagonal bits to go in like this, okay? And we're going to add adhesive to the bottom triangle in the top right quadrant of the paper. Okay, and then we're going to add adhesive to the top triangle in the bottom left quadrant of the paper. Okay, so we've got here and here. And now with the folded edge of the B's towards the outside of the paper, we're going to adhere this one here. And again, with the folded edge towards the outside of the paper, we're going to adhere right here. Okay, now I'm going to give that a few minutes to dry, and then we'll close it up. Okay, so once the glue is dry, it will fold up like this. So the 2 parts that open out, your B pieces, will come together in the center. And then your outside bits just kind of fold up and around it. Okay, I'll do that again really slow. Okay, and that is going to be an insert for a pocket. So you can set that aside for just a second. And we'll grab our base page. So we just finished page 1. We're flipping it over. And your C piece, oh, we haven't scored them yet. Get it together, Kat, yeah. Get out your scoreboard, folks. We need to finish prepping our pieces. Okay, so piece C. We're going to score on the 5 5/8 inch side, which is 14.2 centimeters. We're going to score at half and 5/8, so 1.2 and 1.6 centimeters. Then we're going to rotate a quarter turn, so now it's on the 10 1/4 or 26 centimeter side. We're going to score again at half and 5/8. Okay, and then we're going to score at 9 5/8 and 9 3/4. Or if it's easier to think about it like this, you could do the half and 5/8 and then flip the whole thing 180 and go half and 5/8 again. So it's half and 5/8 on 3 sides. Okay, so that's your C. Your D, we're going to score at half or 1.2 centimeters on the 3 3/4 inch side. So it's the shorter side is at the top. And then your E pieces will be scored at half on the 5 1/2 inch side. So 1.2 centimeters on the 14 centimeter side. Okay, so we're going to add score tape to those 1/2 inch sections. Okay, so these are the E's. Okay, and the D. Okay, and the C, we'll put score tape on all 3 of those sides that we scored, making sure that the tape does not go into the little gusset that we made. Okay, and now we're going to miter our corners. All right, so we're gonna cut off a little bit at each corner. So when you have intersecting score lines, we're going to cut until we get to where the score lines intersect, and then we're going to angle out. Okay, and then we're also going to miter the D and the E's, and then fold and crease all of those score lines. Okay, so once you've got your score lines all folded and creased and such, now we can bring back our first base page there. Okay, I'm going to remove the tape backing from piece C, and it's going to be a pocket onto the bottom of the base page. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit of wet adhesive. Okay, and it's just going to go down at the bottom. Okay, your D piece is going to go along the top of the base page. Okay, and then your E pieces are going to go on the pocket, opening out to the left and the right. Okay, now there's just enough room for this D piece to open, so make sure you've got the E pieces all the way down to the bottom. Okay, and the E pieces will overlap each other just slightly, so you can kind of decide which one you want on top. Okay, and now we're going to add magnet going from the D piece to the pocket. So I'm going to put it on the pocket itself. Okay, 2 magnets magnetized together. Wee bit of square tape. Fabulous. Okay, put that down, and now we can decide if you want the right over the left or the left over the right. I think I'm going to go right over left. So same process, adding the magnets. Okay, and now I'm going to add some score tape over top of those magnets, just so they don't come up. And then these ones here as well. Okay, and then you can put your AB part into the pocket. If you would prefer to not do this AB part and just have a big tag go into this pocket, that's totally fine. That's completely up to you. If you don't want this bit of bulkiness, you can just put a single tag in that pocket and scratch the whole AB part if you would prefer to do it that way. So completely up to you, but that is good for page 2. So now we can get our pieces ready for page 3. So like I said in the beginning when I was showing you the album itself, page 3 is one that you can modify if you don't want a lot of bulk in your album, if you want it to be a little bit more streamlined. So as I tell you the pieces, I'll let you know which ones you can omit or change to make it less bulky. Okay, so your A piece is 7 5/8 by 7 inches. So that's 19.4 centimeters by 17.7. Your B piece is 2.5 inches by 14 inches. So because not many people are going to have 12 or 14 inch cardstock, I've just taken 2 pieces that are 2.5 inches and I'm just going to glue them together to create a 14 inch strip. Okay. So 2.5 inches is 6.35 centimeters and 14 inches is 35.5 centimeters. So just make a strip that is 35.5 centimeters long. So these C pieces are going to be the freestanding pockets that will adhere to your B strip when it's all folded. If you find that the pockets are just too much bulk, you can either just do 2 of them, or you can change them from pockets to just a single piece of cardstock. Okay, so if you want them to be pockets, the measurement is 4 1/4 by 7 inches, which is 10.8 centimeters by 17.7. If you want them to just be plain pieces of cardstock adhered to your B. Here, I'm just going to show you quickly on the prototype because I have it right here. So on my prototype, so these are the pockets. So these are the C pieces, okay? So if you don't want these all to be pockets, you can just cut a piece of cardstock that is going to cover where the pocket is. So it'll just be one single piece instead of, you know, essentially 3 layers, I guess it would be. Okay, so if you do decide to just do a single piece of cardstock here instead of the pockets, you also won't need the D pieces, okay? So if you just want the cardstock, it will be 4 pieces that are 3 1/4 by 6. Okay, so that is 8.2 by 15.2. So if you want it as a pocket, 4 1/4 by 7 inches. If you want it as just a piece of cardstock, 3 1/4 by 6. So knock an inch off both the length and the width. Okay? And then your D pieces are 6 by 6. So you can have 4 of those or 2 of those completely up to you, depending on whether if you have the pockets, then you probably want 4. If you're not doing the pockets, then you don't need the D pieces at all. Okay, so the D's are 6 by 6 inches or 15.2 by 15.2 centimeters. And then your E. Okay, the E is 4.5 inches by 7 inches, which is 11.4 centimeters by 17.7. Okay, so get your scoreboard out. We'll start scoring all of that. Okay, so your first piece, we're going to score on the 7 5/8 inch section or side, so the longest side, and we're going to score at 1/2 and 5/8. So again, that is 1.2 and 1.6 centimeters. Okay, that's it for the A. The B, so get it into, I'm just gonna get this to a point of 14 inches first. Okay, so once you've got your B piece at 14 inches, you're going to score it at 3.5 inches or 8.9 centimeters and 10.5 inches, which is 26.6. Then we're going to flip it over so those score lines are still in the same spot. And we are going to score at 7, which is 17.7 centimeters. So then when we fold it, it's going to make like a big W. Just make sure your glue is dry, because mine is not quite dry. Okay, or an M, a W or an M, whichever way you want to look at it. Okay? So that is your B. Your C pieces. Okay, if you are doing the pockets, then we are going to score at 3.5 on the long side, the 7-inch side. So that is 8.9 centimeters on the 17.7 centimeter side. And then we're going to rotate it. So now it's on the 4.25 inch side, which is 10.8, and we are going to score at 1/2 and 3.75. Okay, so that is 1.2 and 9.5 centimeters. Okay, so we're going to do that to each one of the C pieces. Okay, the D pieces, you're just going to fold in half, either way. So I mean, you can definitely score it if you so desire. So if you want to score it, it would be scored at 3. I find it just as easy to just fold something in half, but you can definitely use your scoreboard. And another way to reduce the bulk, if you decided that you did want to use the pockets, you don't have to have these D pieces folded over. You could cut them in half instead of folding them in half to just have a single insert instead of the folded insert. Okay? And then lastly, your E, score it at 1/2 on the 4.5 inch side. So score at 1.2 centimeters on the 11.4 side. Okay, so that's all the scoring. We can put our scoreboard away. We can add all of our score tape to our 1/2 inch sections. Okay, so this is the E. I'm going to just miter the corners as I go. Okay, the D's do not need any score tape. So for all of the C's, we are going to cut the bottom score lines away. So just cut along the score line for each of them, and then I'm going to put score tape on the remaining score lines. Miter those corners. Okay, and then we're going to fold, fold, and fold, and then that will create your freestanding pocket. Okay, I'm just going to do this while we're here. Okay, so then you're just going to fold this part up to create your pocket. Okay, so we're going to do that to all of the C pieces. Okay, so each of them will look like this before you fold them. Okay. Okay, there's your C's all prepped. Now we just need some score tape on the A. Okay, so now fold and crease all of your score lines, and then we can start putting it all together. Okay, I'm just going to crease my score lines off camera, and then I'll come back and show you what to do. Okay, let's start putting it together. So we are going to put our A piece on the right edge of the base. So we're working on our second signature now, okay? Second base page. Okay, perfect. So we've got our A right there. All right, now before we put our B down, we're gonna need some patterned paper on the inside of this. So I'm going to use this blue, so I'm just going to adhere it down. I'm just gonna make sure I've got it the right size. Yes. Feel free to add wet adhesive to your pattern paper as well. I don't usually do that, but I've had a couple questions about that. Okay, so now we can put our B piece down. Okay, so we want the center fold to be up, to be like a tent. Okay, and we are going to adhere just this part and this part down onto our page, and we want the center fold to be lined up with the crease in between the A and the base. Okay, and I'm going to put mine about maybe with an inch or so of space. It's kind of up to you, but I'm going to do about an inch of space. So I'm just going to put wet adhesive on the back side of this rectangle here. Okay, make sure that that crease is in the center, and then this back portion here is also going to get some adhesive. Okay, I'm just going to lay it flat. Okay, give that some chance. Give that a chance to dry. Okay, and then your C pockets are going to go right on top of these 4 areas. So if you've decided to use the pockets, then perfect. If you've decided that you just want one piece of paper there, that's also awesome. I think I'm going to go with 2 pockets and 2 just single pieces of paper. And that way it doesn't get overly bulky. Kind of splitting the difference, but feel free to do which way you would like to do it. Okay, so I am going to put the pockets on the inside, I think. Okay, so 1 pocket there. And 1 here. Okay, try to make them even with each other. Okay, and then on the 2 outer bits, I'm just going to do a single piece of cardstock. So that was the, what was it, 3.5 by 3.25 by 6. Okay, so then I put my D pieces into those 2 pockets. Oh, the pockets are a little bit high. Okay, so I might just put my pockets on just a tiny bit high, but they're already on there, so I'm just going to trim my insert. Because I kind of want them even with these things. Okay, there we go. All right, and then your E piece. So the E piece is going to go on the left side here, just to close over everything. It's going to kind of be what locks the page. Okay, now my plan, I'm not worried about the paper being here because my plan is to use a border strip from that border strips page to cover over this 1/2 inch section that we're putting down here. Right, so this right here, I'm going to put a border strip there, was my plan. So you can do that or decorate it a different way, but when we close this up, it does that. Okay, and so we're going to put a magnet from E to the front of the A. Okay, and then we'll cover up those magnets and then we'll move on to our last page. Okay, perfection. Okay, the pieces you will need for page 4. So your piece A is 8 5/8 inches by 7. So that's 22 by 17.7 centimeters. Your B piece is 7 3/4 by 6 3/4 inches. So that's 19.6 by 17 centimeters. Your C piece, 7 3/4 inches by 6 inches. So that's 19.6 by 15.2 centimeters. The D piece is 6.5 by 6 inches, which is 16.5 by 15.2. And your E piece is 6.5 by 5 inches, which is 16.5 by 12.7 centimeters. Okay, again, rewind that if you need to watch it again. Okay, grab that scoreboard. Beginning with the A, we are going to score on the longer side, so the 8 5/8 inch side, and we are going to score at 1/2 and 5/8. So that's 1.2 and 1.6 centimeters. Oops, went way off the rails on that one. There we go. That's your A. Your B, we are scoring at 1/2 on the 6 3/4 inch side. So that is 1.2 centimeters on the 17 centimeter side. The C piece, we're scoring at 1/2 on the longer side. Okay, so that's 1.2 centimeters on the 19.6 inch side. These centimeters are boggling my brain. Okay, piece D. We'll be scoring 1/2 on the 6 inch side. So that's 1.2 on the 15.2 centimeter side. And your piece E will be scoring at 1/2 on the 6.5 inch side. So that's 1.2 centimeters on the 16.5 centimeter side. Okay, perfect. So now, bet you know what's happening. We are going to put our score tape on all of those 1/2 inch sections, and then we're going to miter all of the corners, and then we're going to fold and crease all of the score lines. Okay, so there's the E. D. C. B and A. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to let you miter all the corners and fold and crease everything, and then we will come back and put everything together onto our page 4. Okay, so flip over page 3, and let's get these pieces onto our page 4. So A is going to go on the left edge of the base. Okay, open up that A. And your B piece is going to go at the top of the inside of the A. Okay, right at the far edge. Okay, open up that B, and your C piece is going to go onto the right edge of the inside of B. Okay, open that up. See what's happening here? We're going to put our D piece on the bottom edge of the C. We're going to have that centered left to right. Okay, and then your last piece, the E, is going to go on the left edge of the D. All right. I kind of wanted something that would like open, I mean, it doesn't open like a map exactly, but I just wanted something that kind of just like kept opening. Ooh, ha. And I think I'm going to use something over here as a closure, like I'm gonna have a swing tab or something in the decorating process that will act as a closure for all of this. So I'm not gonna add any magnets to it at the moment. Okay, so that's our page designs. So I am going to get most of my pattern paper on and then come back and show you, because the pattern paper takes me many hours to put it all on. So I'm going to come back and show you anything that is extra, and we'll go through it really slow so you can use the same papers if you so desire to. And then we'll do the cover and the binding and all that jazz. Okay, so I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so I've got my papers on. I will go through everything really slowly so you can kind of see what I've done. And if you want to do it exactly the same, you can just kind of take a screenshot or whatever. Okay, so just white paper for journaling inside there. When you open it up, it looks like that. Just used this was some of the writing that was on one of the edges of a page. Okay, and then on page 2, so these two kind of match, right? So here on the bottom part, I just have white on the inside, and then this, I cut these down, part of the cut aparts, and then when you open that up, looks like that. So this is the front, this is the back. And then on the inside, I guess it's this way. Okay, so just white and then white on the inside of these as well. So I wanted there to be spots for like journaling and such. Okay, so that's that part. And then on page 3, I just used this as a little tuck spot here. And then open this up and open this up. So these are just blank on the inside and then white on the outside, just on the front, I mean. I might put more paper, I was trying to see how bulky it would get. I just didn't want it to get too bulky. Okay, so that's that. And then on the 4th page, so open like that. And then white for journaling. And then a little bit of paper piecing. And like that. Okay, so I probably will put a few more bits and pieces from the ephemera here and there, but for now I'm just going to do that. I was going to put a swing tab here though. I put a magnet underneath this piece of paper right here, and then I've got this cut apart that I've backed on some chipboard. Then I put a magnet, and then I put some black cardstock. So I haven't put this piece of paper down yet, so I'm going to glue this down, and then I'm going to put this swing tab here. So let me just quickly get this piece of paper down. Oh, I forgot to ink it. Oh well, that's all right. Okay, so now I'm going to let that magnet find where it wants to go, where it meets his buddy. And then I've got a hole already, punched a hole right here already. So I'm just going to use a pen to mark where that hole sits. And then I'm going to cut a hole here. So this is into the opening of the page. And then I'm just going to attach this with a brad. Okay, and then I'll open the tines on the back side and put some score tape over top. I haven't got big pullouts in the two side page pockets yet, but I will do that as well. Okay, so I'm just going to put some score tape over that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put a little piece of Tyvek over it instead. Okay, so I'm going to put that on the inside to cover those tines. Okay, and now this should go over like that. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to work on the cover and the binding. Okay, so making the cover, we are going to need 2 pieces of chipboard that measure 8 by 9 3/4 inches. So that is 20.3 centimeters by 24.7 centimeters. Okay, and then we are going to need some Tyvek. My piece of Tyvek, sorry, these are going to go this way. My piece of Tyvek is 5 1/4 inches by 16 inches, which is 13.3 centimeters by 40.6. So what I'm going to do with this piece of Tyvek, I've already got adhesive on it, and I'm going to remove the backing. Okay, and then we need 2 1/4 inches in between these 2 pieces of chipboard. Actually, I'll mark it on the Tyvek itself. That's what I'll do. Okay, now I'm just going to put some glue on this Tyvek. Okay, and then I'm going to put 1 of my pieces of chipboard kind of in the center of the Tyvek, and then make sure that I'm at 2 1/4 and put the other piece. Okay, and now we can pull this Tyvek over and up. Okay, I'm going to put one more tiny piece here. It didn't quite cover it. We're going to be covering this over anyway, so it's not a big deal. Fabulous. Now I'm going to be covering the whole cover in some faux leather that I created. It's really dark. I wanted it to be a fairly dark color, so like I said in the beginning, I do have a video on how I made this faux leather. So I will link that down below so you can go check it out if you want to use something similar. So I'm going to glue the entire thing down and then kind of fold it around my cover. And I don't need quite this big. I'm going to trim it down just a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of trim off the edges. Okay, so I've got my adhesive, my score tape all over the back of this. Now I'm going to add some wet adhesive and lay it down onto the back side of my faux leather paper, which is just made from a paper bag. Okay, so I've got the wet adhesive on there as well. I'm just going to flip this over. You really only need around 1 inch all the way around. I have quite a bit more than that, so I have a lot more than I even need to wrap around. So I'm going to put score tape all the way around the perimeter of this, and I think I might give it one more trim because I don't need this much. And then we'll just like we would a pocket, we'll just miter the corners. Okay, so I've got it attached to my paper. I've trimmed it down and I've mitered the corners, just a little in at an angle, out at an angle cut. Okay, so now we can wrap the paper bag around the chipboard and then we can do our binding. Okay, so I like to just kind of start in the center and then just slowly work my way out. Just press it really well. Okay. Fabulous, and then we'll just do the ends. Okay, fantastic. So there's your cover, and we'll just put black here. Once we've got our binding on, we'll just put black paper. Okay, so there is our leather-bound cover. Okay, for the binding you will need a piece of cardstock that measures 6 3/4 inches by 10 1/4 inches, which is 17 by 26 centimeters. Okay, and we are going to score. Okay, I'll say it in inches first, and then I'll say it in centimeters. Okay, so we will score at 2.5, 2 3/4, 3, 3 1/4, 4, 4 3/4, 5.5, 6 1/4, 7, 7 1/4, 7.5, 7 3/4. Oh, and mine is too long. This only needs to be 10 1/4. I've got mine at 11. So I'm just going to trim a little bit off. Okay, so now I'll say it again, but this time in centimeters. So 6.3, 7, 7.6, 8.2, 10, 12, 14, 15.8, 17.7, 18.4, 19, 19.7. Okay, so those are all of your score lines. We can put our scoreboard away. Okay, we are going to put score tape on the second and the fourth 3/4 inch score line. Okay, that's all we're going to put for now. Okay, so just those two. Now we are going to remove that backing, put a little bit of wet adhesive. Okay, and fold. So the first 3/4 inch the first 3/4 inch section is going to adhere to the second one where we have the score tape. Okay, so fold it over so they're on top of each other, and then we're going to fold all of these little lines back. Okay, and then we're going to fold that the other way. Okay, so now it's like just standing straight up. So these are the two pieces that we just adhered together, and now we're going to do the same with this one and this one. Okay? Sorry for that squeak. Okay, so fold those together. Okay, and now we're just going to fold the lines that are on either side of that. We're just going to fold them opposite. So we just want this to, the flange part that's sticking up, we just want it to fold both ways. Okay. Okay, and now we can just fold each one of those other little score lines. Okay, so now we are going to be putting score tape on both of the 2.5 inch sections on each end. Okay, and then we're also going to put score tape on either side of the little flanges. That's where our pages are going to slide onto. Okay, and then I'm just going to give a little bit of a miter to these flanges where the pages are going to go onto, it just helps them to slide on a little better when there's a little bit of an angle. Not very much, just a tiny bit. Okay, so just a tiny bit of an angle on each of them. Okay, so it looks like that and like that. Okay, so now we're going to adhere this onto our cover. So remove the backing, add some wet adhesive, and we are going to have the first and the last score line are going to go right where the chipboard starts. Okay, so make sure it's centered up and down, and make sure that that first and last score line are even with the right where the chipboard starts. Okay, and now we're going to put some black cardstock here and here, or you could just put the pattern paper. Don't have to do black first if you don't want to. Totally your choice. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to do a closure on this. So before I put the pattern paper on here, I want to get my closure happening. So what am I going to do? I think I kind of want to do a strap or two with a buckle. So let me just see what I have. Okay, so I've got a piece of Tyvek that I've just covered in like the excess that I cut off from this piece of faux leather. I'm using this clasp. It's one that I got off eBay like years ago. But if you just type in vintage jewelry clasp or vintage jewelry box clasp. I think that's what I typed in to find this. Okay, so I've adhered this one via 3 brads. Okay, and now I'm going to, this one is going to attach to this piece here. Okay, so I'm going to glue it down and attach it, and then I'm going to have to add a bit more Tyvek. So let's put it on the end here. Now you don't have to do this at all. This is just an extra thing that I wanted to do. So you can do whatever clasp you like or no clasp at all. It is completely up to you. Okay, so I'm just going to mark these holes with a gold pen just so I know where to put my holes here. Just going to punch them with my craft pick. Okay, I'm going to put some glue on the back of this. And then put the brads through the holes. Okay, open them on the other side here. Okay, just like that. And now I'm just going to cover these tines with some more of the faux leather. Okay, so I'm just going to put one more strip across like that. Okay, and I'll just snip that off. Just going to trim around these corners as well. Okay, so it looks like that. Now I'm going to do the clasp up and then flip this over so I know where it is that I need this to adhere on the back side. I'm gonna maybe just kind of put my pages, I'm just gonna sit them in there for a moment just so I know how thick this is gonna be. I'm gonna flip this over and I'm gonna take that pen again. I'm gonna make a couple marks here, so I'll make holes in that and then I'll mirror them here. Okay, I'm just going to use my crocodile. Okay, and I'll remark those two spots on the back here. Okay, and then I'll put those same holes in the back cover and attach this with a brad. Let's see if my crocodile will reach to do these two holes. Oh, it might just. Yeah, excellent. Oh, sorry, my head probably just got in the way, didn't it? Perfection. Okay, now we can put the brads through. I'm also going to put a little bit of adhesive here so it stays put right there. I want it to be as strong as possible. Okay, I'm going to have to undo it from the front though. There we go. And put the second brad in. Sorry, let's turn this around so you can see what's happening. So I'm just undoing the brads on the inside of the cover. Okay, so now I've got this flap coming from the back and it's going to go around to the front and clasp. Okay, so now I'm just going to cover these two brads and now we can put some black paper or patterned paper on the inside of the covers. Okay, I think I'm just going to use just this plain paper on both the back and the front covers, and I might embellish them a little bit further after that. Okay, so once you've got your back and front cover on, then we can put our pages in. So I'm just going to remove the tape backing from both sides of one of the flanges and then add a bit of wet adhesive and then just slide my page on. Sorry, squeak. Okay, and then so just open it to where the opening of the page is and literally just slide it on there. And then just kind of push on either side at the bottom, and then we can put our other one on. You might want to put a bit of pattern paper in between the pages, and then you just have to finish your however you want to decorate the front cover. I haven't figured out exactly what I'm doing with that yet. And if you want to do any other embellishing to the pages, but that is pretty much it. Make sure your pages are even with each other, like that. Okay, and because the binding is not adhered to the spine, these pages will lay perfectly flat. Okay, I'm just going to use that same paper that I used for the back and front cover. I'm going to put it in between my page here. Just going to ink that up and put that there. And I definitely printed enough papers that I could actually do 2, possibly 3 of these albums. I printed many more than I actually needed, but that's okay because they're gorgeous and I will use them. Alright, just like that. And there we go. And then this does up like that. Fabulous. I think I'm going to use this from one of the journaling cards on the front somehow. I'm just not entirely sure how yet, but I think I'm going to use that, and then I'm going to keep the cover pretty simple because I want the star to be the faux leather. Alright, so I hope you have enjoyed this pirate logbook tutorial, and I hope you will try out the faux leather idea and check out some of my other tutorials. And thank you again to Vectoria Designs for having me design another project for them. And I hope you're having a beautiful day, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Please, if you haven't already, give that subscribe button and the like button and the bell button and all the cool buttons. Give them all a little boop. I will see you soon. Huge hugs. Bye.